What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second episode of Parents Under the Stairs, our new web show on the Quality Violent Cinema Network, featuring me, Ian, and my beautiful wife,
Presley.
And this episode is a special topic to us, and that's going to be...
body horror.
Yep, you came up with it.
Yeah, I was just thinking like that it's a very broad subject. There's so many movies, and I just honestly feel like I should be in one right now, you know? Like, just had a baby, I'm breastfeeding, my body's not my own. It's horrific.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot of pregnancy horror movies. I feel like we should do another episode that's just pregnancy horror, baby horror, and stuff too after this.
oh yeah.
That's like a whole rabbit hole you can go down after body horror. Like, there's a lot of subcategories of body horror. Like,
Yeah, there really are. I think it'd be fun to explore. Definitely got to do another pregnant one now that I'm no longer pregnant.
yep. So, how about you start us off with your first one?
Well, what had happened was I was gonna let you go first since I went first last time.
Oh, really?
Chivalry, my love.
Oh, shit. Okay. All right. I'll do it. All right. So, I'm going to come out the gate with something that not a lot of people have heard of. It's called Septic Man. Have you ever heard of Septic Man?
No.
Okay, Septic Man is a strange movie that kind of flew under the radar for a lot of people. It came out in 2013, and it was directed by the guy that, or written maybe by the guy that did Pontypool. Have you ever heard of that movie? It's a zombie movie where the zombies are infected by like sound waves and stuff. So this guy's kind of a out of the box kind of thinker when it comes to writing horror films. So Septic Man, it's about a town that's having a outbreak, a virus, because of the drinking water. And they're thinking that it's because a lot of these dead bodies are turning up because of something that's down in the sewers. So the Septic Man, I don't know why he's called a Septic Man and not a Sewer Man, because he's not going in a septic tank. But anyway, he goes in and he's gonna get paid extra to go in and clear up whatever's causing this virus or whatever. And he gets locked in the sewer. After that, there's a couple villains that come down, and he's being attacked, and they're harassing him, or they're fucking with him and stuff. And eventually he gets the virus, and he starts mutating and having all these hallucinations and stuff, and it becomes kind of almost like an not experimental, but surrealistic after a while. But Septic Man is a really, really weird body horror film. Has a lot of poop in it, but if you're not bothered by, it's not very graphic with the poop, but you're in a sewer and people are going through brown water pretty much the whole movie.
Yum.
So yeah.
Well, talking about shit and horror,
Yeah.
that kind of leads me very nicely into my pick, which is The Human Centipede, directed by Tom Six.
Yep.
So that came out in like what, 2011?
I feel like it came out earlier, didn't it? I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I watched it in 2011 is what had happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that movie was just so fucking ridiculous. Everyone at school was talking about it. I was a sophomore when it came out, and I was like, ooh, that actually sounds right up my alley. So I watched it the first time, and I was like pretty shit-faced, so I don't really remember it. But the second time I watched it, I was hungover, so there was a difference in my viewing, the way I viewed it. And it was just absolutely made me feel disgusting in every aspect of my life. Like, if you haven't seen it, which good for you, it's pretty much the scientist or doctor, mad scientist doctor.
Dieter Laser is his actor's name.
Yeah.
Who has recently passed away.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Sad. So he's pretty much a retired surgeon who specialized in separating
Siamese.
I'm rugged. Siamese twins. And he gets infatuated with connecting people. Well, he started with his Rottweilers. So he's looking for human subjects. And essentially, it's a whole ass to mouth thing.
Yeah.
And
It's exactly like the title says, Human Centipede, just linking humans, ass to mouth, ass to mouth.
lucky.
Yeah. Some people, it's their biggest fantasy, so.
It's the best of both worlds. Can I be in the middle?
Yeah. I love the sequels too. I know that, yeah, the second one gets a little bit like more graphic, even though it's all in black and white. Third one goes more for like a spoof comedy, almost making fun of the series and dishing out something like more disgusting than you'd expect.
Yeah, I mean, the first movie is extreme on its own, and then the next one, you would think like he couldn't get worse, and it gets worse.
Yeah.
There's that scene at the very end where that pregnant chick actually is trying to escape, and she gives birth to her baby. Spoiler alert. Gives birth to her baby, and she has to smash his little head in to get away.
Yeah. I was at a time when there was just a lot of baby mutilation in movies. Like, people are like found a sweet spot that offended people. So there was like a lot of, yeah. I love the third one though. It's just a troll movie. Like, that movie was made to piss people off. So.
I haven't watched it. I talked to my brother about it, and I literally was like, "Just tell me what happens, because I'm never gonna watch it." And the first thing he said was, he's eating women's clits.
Yeah, he has a bowl of clitorises
and
that
I
he's
was like,
eating.
I'm not fucking watching that.
Yeah, it's weird. But it's worth watching if you like shocking or offensive stuff, for
I'll
sure.
probably watch it now.
The first movie I'd say is a little more elevated. It's just a better made movie. And then like once you get to the third one, it's in spoof territory, I'd say. So I'll go into something a little bit more. I guess the only way you could link it to Human Centipede is it has to do with eating, and that's called Eat, which is a movie that came out in 2014. And this one kind of flew under the radar too. It's about a girl who lives in LA, and she's trying out for all these movie roles, and she's not really doing too well anymore. Her career's kind of going downhill. She's still very young though, and her stress is causing her to have this eating disorder. But it's not like a normal eating disorder. It's her blacking out, and when she wakes up, she's devoured part of her own body. And it starts with, her fingernails, like a lot of people do when they're stressed out. And then, she starts chewing on her skin. She's like on the freeway after what do you call it, audition, and she's chewing on her nail, and it accidentally peels up a whole piece of skin up her arm, and like, oh, it fucks. I mean, anyone who's watched our other show, Quality Violent Cinema, knows I don't really do too well when it comes to food in horror movies or movies at all. Like, I just don't like looking at food on screen. But yeah, this one is a whole another level because she's making herself into the food, and yeah, it's pretty. It'll cut deep down to you. Like, even if you are kind of desensitized like me, it's got these moments in it that you're just kind of like, ugh, God. So yeah, check out Eat. 2014.
That reminds me, in Black Swan, which I was going to talk about, but I decided not to, but like, she has this tick where she like scratches herself and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And at one point she notices some of her skin's coming off, so she starts to peel it back, and for some reason that just makes my skin crawl.
Very similar to that scene. I almost feel like Black Swan is body horror, like in a way. It's got some body horror stuff in it. Yeah. So yeah, it
qualifies. My next pick is Tusk, and it's a very silly movie. It's directed by Kevin Smith, who does a bunch of like goofy stuff, really good stuff. It depends on who you are, if you want to call his stuff really good. It
depends on what part of his career you're talking about.
I know.
It's kind of uneven.
I don't think Tusk did very well either, but I really liked it. Well, I don't think I really liked it. It just kind of fucked me up, I guess. So it's about this podcaster, actually, Justin Long, who's kind of a piece of shit if you watch it, and he goes on this trip to meet this dude who he's like, oh, I gotta interview him. And when he gets there, he gets a weird vibe from this guy, and pretty much he gets drugged, and the doctor does the same thing as the guy did in the Human Centipede. He explains what he's gonna do to him, and he's pretty much like, I'm gonna make you into a walrus, my friend. And it's kind of showing you the process. Like, his friends are kind of like, oh, where the fuck is he? We gotta look for him. And during the duration of the movie, it's this doctor turning him into a walrus, slowly at a time. And then it's just the reveal for me. It was fucking horrifying. He looks like it's fucking horrifying. I don't like the way he did it. He looks scary.
Yeah, the makeup's pretty good in that, I'd say, when it goes to that. But then there's other parts of the movie that aren't so good. Like Johnny Depp's character just looks like he has a dollar store mustache on, pretty much. Like,
Oh yeah. No.
yeah, it's just like that's the thing about what was the one he did after that? Yoga Hosers.
Yoga Hosers. Yeah.
Yeah.
That has his daughter in it.
Yeah.
That's why.
And it was like he was like doing this thing for a while where I think he came up with these ideas while he was stoned on his podcast, and then he got enough of his fans to like encourage him to do it. So he's just making these dumbass movies, and it was crazy because he made that movie Red State. Did you hear about that one? It was kind of like a Waco situation movie. It's very serious. It has John Goodman as a FBI agent or ATF agent.
I love John Goodman.
That's a cool movie. It's like Kevin Smith dipping his toe into torture porn, and then he started doing stuff like Tusk and Yoga Hosers and whatever.
Yeah, Tusk is not a great movie, but that walrus reveal is just what makes me uneasy.
Yeah.
And it's horrifying. I don't want to be turned into a walrus.
It was a good conversation piece when it came out, though. Like, everyone was talking about it and stuff, so it was kind of fun just to kind of have that. My next movie is going to go to Japan for a movie called Tokyo Gore Police, which is a very epic splattercore movie. Kind of got that cyberpunk vibe because it takes place in the future, and it's very anime influenced, but it's about a girl who wants to protect the honor of her father, who's a cop that got murdered, but the whole police force is crooked. At the same time, there's all this body modification going on through these people called engineers, where they are turning their body parts into like whatever, machine guns, swords, spiders, alligators. It makes no sense. It's extremely gory, over the top, depressing at times, hilarious at times. I can't really say too much about it because everything is visuals. You'll see in the trailer down in the corner like all the crazy crap that happens in Tokyo Gore Police, but it was a big step up for those splattercore movies from Japan, like Machine Girl and what else? Meatball Machine and all that. So this was just like the epic one. It almost felt kind of like Kill Bill style, like just this chick taking on a ton of people, gore everywhere. It's great.
I just thought that I'd watch it.
Yeah,
So,
it's a fun one.
some
It's on
soon.
Tubi for free right now.
So my next pick is Society, directed by
Hell yeah.
Brian Yuzna. I've seen it once, and I absolutely want to see it more times. But that one is absolutely a very good example.
Mm.
An example of body horror.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts out, the very first scene is this dude like going into the bathroom and his sister's taking a shower and her buns are all like, there's something weird, you know? And he's like, ooh, what's going on? And she's just like, oh, it's fine. We're good. And so throughout the movie, he's just kind of feeling like something's off, you know?
Is that when her head like turns around, but her butt is still facing him
I
or
think
something?
so.
Yeah.
There's something weird with her
Yeah.
buns.
Yeah. Her
Yeah.
body just isn't right.
Yeah, something's off. Man.
Yeah.
So the whole movie, he's trying to like get to the bottom of everything.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot of butts in this movie.
yeah, he's just like, there's something fishy's going on here. And pretty much all the craziness happens. It's like the build up to this big party that's going on for his sister. And when the party happens, you realize it's some like extraterrestrial shit, and all their bodies connect, and just some scenes throughout too. You know, his parents and his sister all entwined in a scene, and it's just crazy stuff.
Yeah, and it goes into like the paranoia factor too of who can you trust, who's part of the society, and who's a normal human still. So it was cool, like
Yeah,
body
there's
snatchers
like a scene where
kind of
someone
thing.
dies, right, and then he sees them again, and they're
Mhm.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
and then no one believes them, like
yeah,
that kind
exactly.
of stuff. Very similar to Body Snatchers, but
Oh, that movie made me sad.
But it's-
remake.
Brian Yuzna though, it's just
He's a master. Of
anything he
that shit.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
My next one is from another master, and that's David Cronenberg, The Brood, which is my favorite David Cronenberg movie. And every single one of his movies, I think, are body horror, except for his newer ones, which are more dramas. But this was 1979, so it was right as he was getting his footing after Rabid and stuff like that. And it's a very mature movie, but it's got some kind of schlocky, not schlocky, but almost B-movie horror stuff when it comes to these little tiny demonic children in snowsuits with hammers, like killing everybody.
Scary looking.
But those are what I'm talking about. There are manifestations of this woman's trauma that's being released through a therapy, unorthodox type of therapy, and basically these things are just going and murdering everything that's standing in her way from being a mother. It's very complicated. Just like any Cronenberg movie, you have to fill in some of the blanks on your own. But it's just got a very good vibe to it. It's got this like, it's filmed in the middle of the winter, so it's very snowy, cold Canadian setting. So it's just, check out The Brood.
I like how they actually catch one and dissect it. They're like, they're not human.
I know.
Whatever this is, I really like that aspect. There's no mystery,
Yeah. Like if anything, it was just part of the world that was built in. Just like every Cronenberg movie, that's just the way that the world is, is the Cronenberg's world. It's different than ours.
And our big tumor thing hanging out.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful movie. I love it so much.
And they just kind of expect you to accept that world.
Yeah.
That's how things are here.
And then there's like 20 little fuckers running around at the end.
Oh, yeah. When you finally get to the room where they're all sleeping, that's so scary.
Oh, that poor little girl, probably just traumatized.
Yeah. That one's on Hulu right now. I think that's where we watched it last, but it's still...
HBO Max, actually.
Oh, well, it says Hulu here too, so both.
There, options,
You got
guys.
options.
So my next movie is Cabin Fever.
Hell yeah. You want to show it? We got it to show off.
Oh, we do.
And Cabin Fever 2, which I'm a huge Cabin Fever 2 fan. I'll hold Cabin Fever 2.
Yeah, so fun fact, I actually first saw this movie in a Playboy magazine.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to see it when I was reading that article in Playboy. I was a little kid, so we won't talk about that. But I read it and I'm like, ooh, that actually sounds like horrifying. And then I finally watched it, and it's really good with body horror because it's this flesh-eating disease that makes your skin crawl. Like your flesh is just falling off in chunks, and then it's also the paranoia. These people don't want to fucking catch it, and they start isolating. That dude locks his love interest in a shed after her skin starts falling off.
Mm-hmm.
But did you know that Eli Roth actually had a skin disease, and that's what inspired this movie?
Ooh, I did not know.
Yeah,
It must not have been good though.
he caught something when he was working at a horse farm or something.
Probably like a staph infection or something.
I think so, but he said that he cut himself shaving because he noticed his skin was falling off. He thought it was a mosquito bite, so he scratched it and then his skin fell off, and he's like, I want to play around a little more with it. So he started shaving and his skin fell off, and that inspired one of the scenes in the movie.
Oh my god.
So go Eli Roth, you freak. I love you.
And then fucking Ty West went and made this one, which is just a complete gross out like version of the first one. Like it's way nastier than the first one.
Oh, is that the one where they're at prom?
Yeah, it's the one where they're at the prom. There's like so many nasty parts. And then there's a really good third one too called Case Zero, which a lot of people haven't seen, but I'd recommend that one if you're a gore fan and you like the first two. Alright, so we just did Cabin Fever. Oh, I guess it's my turn now. I'm gonna go with Takashi Miike. We'll go back to Japan for Gozu. Gozu is Takashi Miike's answer to David Lynch films. It's very slow-paced, atmospheric, trippy. Doesn't have a lot of gore or anything like that, but it's got a lot of other unsettling stuff, such as just like Miike does, lots of weird taboo incest, lactation, bestiality, just whatever, but it's basically just about a guy he's a yakuza, not a boss, but he's up there, and he wants to proceed ranks, but one of the bosses is going mad. So another one of the bosses asks him to take that crazy boss out to middle of nowhere and shoot him. So as he's doing that, he loses track of this crazy Yakuza boss, and the rest of the movie is him going around this little town that's very similar to the town in Twin Peaks, just how it's kind of this quiet, kooky little town, and discovering all the weird crap that's going on there with all the weird people. And Gozu is this cow demon thing that licks your face. There's a lot of stuff going on in this movie. There's a car compacting company that compacts Yakuza and then takes their skin and sells them like rugs. It's really strange. So yeah, check out Gozu if you want some weird Takashi Miike. It's very slow. It's not like Ichi the Killer while there's something going on constantly. It's a slow adventure, but it's worth it. At the end, it gets very kinky towards the end. So
My next pick is another Cronenberg movie, but we have the box set for the old one, The Fly.
Oh, you're going Cronenberg on this one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna go original.
Oh, okay.
So we can both pick The Fly.
I'm down. That sounds good. So that's Jeff Goldblum in his prime, in my opinion. Yeah, another kind of mad scientist movie. The Fly got stuck in his little chamber, and he and his body start just fucking up, you know?
Yeah, it's gruesome too.
It's fucked up. Like that scene where he breaks that guy's arm. The whole movie, you know, David Cronenberg just took the original and Cronenberged the shit out of it.
Yeah. There's certain aspects in this version that aren't in the original, like for the original, they kind of switched bodies, and there was like the little fly with his head on it. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then there's a big body with a fly head on the human. So they didn't do it this time. Instead, it's a transformation, like a slow transformation. So
more sci-fi stuff too, you know, like the original.
Can I see that box set real
Yeah.
quick? Yeah. And then I really, really recommend the sequels. Kind of all over the place here. Return of the Fly and Curse of the Fly, because it's just a lot of cool transformations and mad scientist stuff going on, especially when the guy gets turned into like a dog with a head on it and stuff. It's really
I heard
cool.
about that.
And there's like a guy that gets turned into a spider. It's sweet.
Yeah, and the Fly remake. Maybe we should be done.
There's also a sequel with what's his name? Eric. I forgot his name. Eric.
Isn't that supposed to be about the baby, Gina Davis?
Yeah, it's about their kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, remember when she gave birth to that maggot? That was icky.
Yeah. That was good.
That one's a good body for it. Like, he has to throw up on his food. It's repulsive and beautiful and great. So.
Makes me want to eat donuts, even though that scene's gross. I always want donuts after that scene.
You're gross.
All right, and then my final pick, we're going Trauma with the Toxic Avenger. These movies were a huge deal to me growing up. Specifically the first one. And the plot's pretty simple. This nerd named Melvin gets tricked and he gets humiliated and goes crazy, jumps out a window, falls into a bucket of toxic waste, turns into a monster of superhuman size and strength. And he protects Tromaville from evildoers. And yeah, there's a lot of really, really classic scenes in this, especially the scene where a little kid's on a bicycle and gets crushed by a car and his head blows up. It's just a watermelon. But yeah, that's what started the whole Toxic Avenger mythos. And I really like part 2 where he goes to Japan, but you start to see kind of a decrease in quality, or at least in the writing. And then this one is very meandering and doesn't really go anywhere, but I still like it because it's Toxic Avenger and it's special to me. Not a huge fan of the 4th one, but I kind of think I should watch it again and give it another chance. But yeah, Troma's a good place to go when you want body horror, especially the Class of Nukem High series, which just got rebooted with the Return of Nukem High, Romeo and Juliet, Killer Condom, just all that stuff. It's great body horror. So give it up for Trauma.
I don't like Trauma very much, but hey, different strokes for different folks.
Hey, maybe you just got to warm up to it. You never know. There might be something there for you.
Oh, maybe. We'll have to dive in. Maybe we can do a Trauma episode if you can convince me that they're good.
You did like Frankenhooker.
I love Frankenhooker.
Yeah.
That's true.
There you go. So I found one. All right, cool. Thanks for joining us on our second episode of Parents
Oh,
Under
I
the
have
Stairs.
one more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have Clown.
Ooh, Clown. How did I forget about
I
Clown?
know. How dare you? Produced by Eli Roth. I remember seeing the trailer for this, and I was like, I absolutely have to watch it. So in short, this guy, it's his son's birthday, and I think the clown cancels. Something happens with the birthday clown, so he somehow finds this old clown suit and puts it on. Long story short, he starts turning into this clown, the sinister, evil clown. But, yeah, also, you know, I think it falls into the body horror category because it's,
Oh, for sure.
yeah, like
It's a transformation movie.
the part where he's trying to cut off the nose.
Yeah, that's another movie where, like, even though I'm not easily disturbed, they do a really good job at, like, making you feel the pain of the characters when they're going
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah, totally. And then he cuts his hair and it just comes back. You know,
Yeah.
it's a slow, it's not even a slow burn. It's just a crazy.
It's a slow process.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's a very fast-paced movie, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he goes through a slow, tedious process of turning into a clown. Then it goes into like the backstory and mythos of what turned him into the clown too, and it actually has a pretty cool, detailed backstory. And I'm not a big fan of backstories, but they did a good job in this one.
I think so. And, you know, kid death. He has to eat kids to turn back.
Yeah, so it already puts it into that extreme category where anything could happen, you know, like you never know what could happen in that movie. See, that's the kind of cool thing about movies when as soon as you see a kid die, you're like, okay, I guess anything can happen now.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Everything's off the table.
Yep, a dog could die now or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that one's also on Tubi if you haven't seen it and want to. I think it's not as extreme as like a lot of other things. It's pretty wild, but it's a very good.
It's got some splatter in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say it's almost an extreme film for sure. Like
Yeah.
it almost goes there.
I mean, it doesn't show any kids dying. It just really, like, there's blood splatter of kids, not
Yeah.
actual dying on screen. So I
Yeah.
guess that makes it a little better.
So if that's how you get your jollies, then it might not be for you. All right, cool. So yeah, that'll be our second episode of Parents Under the Stairs, body horror. That was a good topic. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Yep. And we'll be coming back. We'll try to get one out every week or so, for sure. I think Sundays are our recording day now.
Yeah. Like we'll try every Sunday, but we also have a 4-month-old, so
Yep. Cool. Well, thank you guys.
thanks for watching or listening.
Yep. Bye.